the same day as my incident.
After having investigated the UFO phenomenon, as you have, Robert, do you believe that whoever is entering our airspace, entering the atmosphere of this planet, do they, in your opinion, pose a threat to national security or to the welfare of the world?
Okay, that is another very good question. Overall, I'd say in this case specifically, and in other cases I've documented where UFOs were seen over nuclear facilities, I think it was basically simply to send a message to us to get rid of our nuclear weapons. In the cases that I discuss in my book, there was no specific damage done to the missiles themselves. And again, just like in my case, basically they're shining a beam of light at times. They're shining a beam of light at weapon storage areas. And again, they want to make sure that people on the ground see this and note the fact that these objects are penetrating these highly secure facilities, shining a beam of light on weapons, nuclear weapons, and to me, that says that they're just sending a message, and the message is, get rid of your nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, we could say that they've got our best interest at heart. But again, I don't want to, claim to know for certain what they're up to, because it's still a mystery.
It's a mystery that has been going on since 1947. Do you believe, sir? I'm just asking this of Robert Salas, citizen. Do you believe that the governments of the world really have information and that they are involved in a worldwide conspiracy to suppress the information about UFOs? And if yes, why?
Well, I just amend your statement just a little bit. I'm not sure it's governments per se.
Okay.
For example, I don't think our president knows about the UFO secrets. I do think that within agencies in governments throughout the world, there certainly are people in the know, because these incidents have happened all over the world. Yeah. And there are people in the know that are probably working together in the form of a secret organization, which I've termed the UFO cabal, and they're holding these secrets back. Again, I think initially it was probably because they were concerned about how the public would react, how our society would be harmed by this knowledge, and things like that. But I think now it's to the point, because this phenomenon has been in the public view for so long. I think most people, a lot of polls show that most people believe we have indeed been visited by extraterrestrial craft, and so there's no real reason not to disclose to the public, other than the power that comes from holding these secrets. And again, like I said, the power is, well, if you had the knowledge, for example, of how to travel at extremely high speeds and make high G turns that humans cannot make today, then this is very powerful information.
But if this information was being held by a government power of the world, sir, would we still be using solid rocket fuel to get into orbit? Would we still be taking all this time to go from Earth to Mars? Would we still be looking for the answers when it comes to propulsion that hundreds of thousands of people around this world this very day are working on? This is where I have a problem with the entire cover-up conspiracy theory. Okay,
that's fair enough. Right now, we've got a system in place with regard to power, where it's petrol-based power, energy, fuel from petroleum. If, let's say, we introduced a free source of energy, then that would damage the, let's say, the ability of people that control the petro business to lose income.
So as in any other case, follow the money.
Right.
All right, Mr. Salas, we've got to take a commercial break here with the news at the bottom of the hour. Thank you so much for joining us. It's indeed a pleasure having you on the show. X-Zone Nation, Robert Salas is our special guest this hour. He's the author of Unidentified, the UFO Phenomenon. It's published by New Page Press, and Robert's website is www.spiralgalaxy.org. Robert Salas and I will return on the other side of this news break as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. Robert Salas is our special guest. He is the author of Unidentified, the UFO Phenomenon, How the World's Governments Have Conspired to Conceal Humanity's Biggest Secret. His website is www.spiralgalaxy.org. Robert, before you had your incident, your UFO encounter on March 24th, 1967, what were your views on UFOs?
You know, I didn't think about it much at all. Certainly, I'd read the local paper, the Great Falls Tribune, had from time to time people reporting lights in the sky, that sort of thing. But I was with most people that thought that there was nothing to this.
Really?
So no, I had no belief system over UFOs before my incident.
The missile silos where this happened, were they under video surveillance? And if so, did the video surveillance show any anomalies the night of March the 24th, 1967?
No, unfortunately, we did not have video cameras then. As far as I know, nobody took photographs of this incident.
You know, I've often thought that the UFO phenomenon is what the Bible is based upon. The burning bush, the descent of gods from the heavens in mythology and folklore. And when it comes to the conspiracy aspect, I don't think that it's as much as the government or the shadow government or the puppet masters who are responsible for the cover-up. I believe that it is the Vatican, the head of the churches, because if it was in fact disclosed that we have been visited by extraterrestrials all these years, that would mean that at that very moment, religion as we know it would cease to exist.
Well, the church, the Catholic Church specifically, I think, has made a statement that if or when extraterrestrial life is discovered, that they would welcome them into the fold of the Catholic Church. So they may be preparing the public for disclosure in the future, but you're right in the sense that it would be a shock to a lot of people because it would change a lot of ideas as to how what our origins may have been. Some people think that ET may have even brought life originally to Earth. It would definitely be a shock to our system, no doubt.
Just imagine that. They wouldn't have religion as an excuse to cause war.
Yes.
Isn't that? There's another question I'd like to ask you. If we are being visited and by extraterrestrials, why haven't they stepped in during a nuclear crisis like at Fukushima? Why haven't they stepped in during the wars that we are continuously having on this planet? Mm-hmm. Any ideas on why?
Well, in fact, in my book, I do talk about incidents that have happened even before the first nuclear explosion. There have been UFO sightings over the Hanford facility, for example, which were documented. And during World War II, during the Vietnam War, the Korean War, and even during the Iraqi War, UFOs were sighted at that time. No, they have been observers rather than interfering in our wars. Mm-hmm. We could speculate about that. One speculation might be that they want to see if we humans can somehow get along better and not have wars. Because they were probably concerned, and this goes to your other question as to why they haven't, landed on the White House lawn.
Sure.
And they were probably very concerned about meeting or having some close dealings with us, mm-hmm. because we are so warlike, and we would probably consider them enemies, or at least very different from us, and you know how we've treated people that are different from us.
Yeah. Mind you, there's the other possibility that they may suffer the same effects as the North American First Nations did when the Westerners came over and brought plagues and disease with them, and maybe they're just concerned for their well-being. Right. I understand, Robert, that you think there was collusion between the Condon investigation on UFOs and the U.S. Air Force, and I was wondering if you could tell us why.
Yeah, I have evidence to that effect. As you stated in the start of the show, the Condon investigation knew about the Malmstrom Air Force Base mm-hmm. incidents, and the reason I know this is because I've got documents from Dr. Roy Craig, who was the chief investigator for Condon. These documents are accessible to the public. They're at the, I think, Texas A&M Archive Library, where he visits a man by the name of Ray Fowler. You may know that name,
sure.
Ray Fowler.
Yeah.
Who was part of what's called the early warning group that was to notify the kind of investigation of UFO incidents that might interest them. He actually visited Ray Fowler after Ray contacted him, because Fowler was the man who had worked for Sylvania. Sylvania had an electrical contract on the Minuteman system, and when the Malmstrom incidents, both the Echo and Oscar flights, went down, Fowler heard about it, and he actually heard from witnesses that saw the UFOs over the facilities. So he notified Dr. Roy Craig, the chief investigator for Condon. Mm-hmm. Craig actually visited with Fowler. Fowler gave him names, phone numbers, specifics about these incidents. Craig actually went to Malmstrom Air Force Base in October '67, and was told by the base ops officer that, while there was an investigation going on, that UFOs had nothing to do with it. Craig got the message that he was not to poke his nose into this, and just turned around and went home. He did not interrogate any of the witnesses, even though he had names and phone numbers, etc. They never looked into the Malmstrom incident again. So to me, that was a clear sign of